Hello and welcome to the Talking with the Experts online business summit. Get ready to gain invaluable insights from industry leaders, uncover innovative strategies and elevate your business to new heights. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a startup founder or a seasoned professional, this summit is designed for you. Let's unlock your full potential and drive your success. Stay tuned for an exciting lineup of experts ready to share their secrets. Let's get started. Explore how esoteric practices and healing childhood wounds can fuel business success with Elinor Moshe. Practical tools for clarity and growth. Now, my next guest is Elinor Moshe, and Elinor, has an incredible career and success in thought leadership, which includes 4 published books and she's a 3-time award-winning author and podcast host. Beneath the surface, Elinor has had business success, but is creating a rift between her external and her internal worlds, and that split off from one another, and the facade of authenticity became, a heavy burden to maintain as the rift grew to a chasm. And growing up with mirroring value systems, like most others, this way of life was all that she knew, yet a deep part within her was unwilling to live out the remainder of her life, knowing this script provided her opportunities to see the truth of the reality that she was perpetrating. So Elinor is going to be discussing with us today, what is she going to be discussing? Esoterics and Business. Now, I tried to look up what esoterics meant. It didn't really give me a defined definition, so I'm sure Elinor will enlighten us with her definition and tell us about how we can use that in our businesses. Elinor, welcome to the Talking with the Experts Online Business Summit. It is such a pleasure to see you again. I know you've been a previous guest on Talking with the Experts podcast. So please come on screen and share with us your beautiful presentation.
Thank you so much, Rose. A pleasure to be here. And you're absolutely right. Esoterics are not so much discussed in mainstream society, let alone brought into the business realm, because even through business education, the conditioning runs so deep to only go with major distorted patriarchal systems of doing things. And what this is creating for business owners is a belief system, a paradigm that business only has to be one way. So the esoteric approach offers a powerful realm into the hidden insights into both personal and business growth, because fundamentally a business is an extension of one's own inner architecture. And when we do not understand that, if you aren't going to deal with your own inner architecture, your business will. If it's not your business, it's your children. If it's not your children, it's your spouse. It needs to be dealt with. But accessing this very deep realm can only be done so through what we consider as unconventional tools. And that's what I will be sharing with the audience here today, and of course, those who will be reviewing the recording. So thank you so much again, Rose, for the opportunity to be here. And I'll share why this became the focal point of not just my personal life, but my professional life. Because my business strategy was missing the unseen foundations. And this is really the question that you all need to ask yourself is your business missing the unseen foundations that make or break success? I had the success, as society calls it. I had the international clients, high profile business collaborations, 4 times best-selling author. My podcast had over 150,000 downloads, and I was interviewing executives and CEOs, and I closed that even though the awards were coming in. The awards were coming in for my mentoring, so on and so forth. I had high ticket clients, business opportunities handed to me on a silver plate that others would keel over for. And I quit all of that in order to step into what I am doing today. Easier said than done. That took a year of just bringing all of that to my mental awareness to understand what was happening. Because once I lifted the hood on my unconscious realm, the house was on fire. Not just was it on fire, the foundations of everything that I was doing was not based on truth. And if it is not based on truth, it will not last. And what this fundamentally results in over time is no sense of self left in your own reality. And this is where the esoterics, the realm of the unconscious, came to aid, where nothing else of convention would work. It simply was not enough. It wasn't through diligence. I could work. I became the workhorse for other people, keeping on, and I kept on foregoing so many of my own inner needs. And until it wasn't traced back as to why that was happening, what vision? The vision was just a fantasy. I only had 2 years of a sample of my vision before it all started tanking. So why do esoterics actually matter? Many of the world's most influential leaders, and there's a quote there by J.P. Morgan, very famous in the financial world, that millionaires don't believe in astrology, but billionaires do. So many influential leaders, including those on Wall Street, do quietly use astrology to help them make important decisions. Astrology is Wall Street's best kept open secret, or something along those lines. The influence of astrology, especially in Wall Street, is something that has intrigued many. And then others have continued to leverage this tool to help them make iconic decisions in finance. Even Ronald Reagan's presidency, way back when, he openly stated and credited some of his decisions to tools like astrology. His chief of staff went on record to say that some of their key decisions, again, were based on timings that astrology offered them insight into. And the disclosure of this later found its way into the corporate world, where high-ranking executives would also say that this is what they use. They call it intuition. But where does this intuition, how can this intuition be mapped out? So if it is good enough for the likes of Wall Street, why isn't it good enough for majority of smaller businesses who don't have the access to as much conventional resources as these large-scale corporations do, but they do have direct access to these esoteric tools? So in the financial world, financial astrology is quite common now. A very famous one called Arch Crawford, he offers financial insights based on guidance on planetary movements. And he uses this alongside traditional analysis. None of this is to discount or disregard the need for a certain level of convention, but it is using the right tool for the right job. So what esoteric tools offer is pattern recognition. It's not magic. It's not woo-woo thinking. It is a highly scientific model based on very deep principles of how reality is constructed that allows us to tap into higher realms of wisdom that would not be accessible through our own conscious perception and our limitations in our own frameworks. So whilst there is a place for convention, there is a time to know when to put that down and when to pick up deeper tools that offer you deeper insights that could save you an immeasurable amount from the outset. So the question you want to ask yourself is, have you felt that there is something unspoken or unseen impacting your business? I had a great run in 2020 and 2021, and I live in Melbourne, so there were lockdowns. We had the world's longest lockdowns. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. Everything all of a sudden went online. Zoom became the second most used word, so on and so forth. I made 6 figures with a full-time job. Come 2022, I made $800 in my own business. And was I aware of what was playing out at the time? No, I was not aware. Why? The same mechanics. I was doing the same thing, but I was not yielding anywhere near the right results. Now, so much of my faculties and structures internally were atrophied, so I wasn't able to connect with this at the time. And I went back to the conventional methods. I tried to do a vision board. That didn't work. I did the affirmations. That didn't work. I asked mentors who have been walking with me. They gave me very flat advice that disregarded so many other dimensions that were playing out. Now, this had, in continuity, this had its detrimental effects, which I am still in the process of not understanding, but turning the cycles. But I was able to do that because the esoteric tools empowered me to see what other people could not see. So when we're looking at a strategy, when things in your business are not working as you are expecting them to, despite the systems and processes, despite so many things, how come finances are drying up despite having invested in a money coach? How come no matter what marketing agency you get, the leads simply don't convert, let alone you're not growing, let alone scaling? The thing is, most businesses rely solely on external data, such as market trends, competitor analysis, what the best X agency says, financial projections. That's what they're conditioned and educated to go on. But what about internal alignment? What about understanding the internal unconscious architecture of your business to make decisions from a very deep place that, again, you consciously cannot access this? So what are these esoteric tools? What are these divination tools that I am referring to? Now, of course, there are a whole host, and we could spend days on end discussing this. But these are the ones that I met on my journey. And if I did not meet these tools on my journey, I would not have been in a position to reforge relatively quickly. I would not be in a position to navigate very turbulent waters in this period of my life without relative ease and grace, and to be able to make very unconventional decisions that my partner and I are making in Truth of You that defy convention, that defy my whole business education. So one is astrology. Astrology uses your birth chart of you and the business. Your business has its own unconscious personality. You just need to know when you set it up and approximately the time and the location where you did that. So this is a unique map to locate the personal strengths, the challenges, the potential, the pathways, the constrictions and contradictions as to how certain energies may triangulate and play out in your business. And it gives you a very holistic map because that's what the zodiac is. It accounts for 12 houses of our life. It gives you the broadest picture as to what is playing out when your business was founded, how is it playing out now, and how can we project that into the future? We also have soul contract numerology. This is based on Hebrew gematria, that every letter carries a frequency, and that frequency has an implication. So what it does is takes the name of your business in its total registration name, so Pty Ltd, all of that, and it decodes and illuminates the agreements, the unconscious spiritual agreements that are made by this business vehicle. It shows what is your business trying to overcome? What are its talents? What are its goals? And what is its destiny? What does the business as its own entity want to succeed at? And this may be in contradiction to what you as an individual have come here to do. So if there is a lot of friction between you and the business, that isn't harmonious energies that allows you to achieve what you want through the vehicle of your business. And then we have tarot. Tarot is an archetype of our inner world. It speaks to our subconscious symbology that wants to come through at a certain point in time. So this helps to support current situations, the decisions, for very thoughtful decision making, and helps you with, it offers you alternative perspectives that consciously we can't get to unless we want to sit here and spin our wheels for decades. But we can very quickly understand what is happening because tarot illuminates our deep inner architecture. So what I'm going to do now is go through our own business profile. This is Truth of You's profile. And I have notes from our primary astrologer, which is my partner, which is not me. This is not a language that I speak, but my partner does. So with Truth of You, the overall chart expression, which is looking at the rising sign, so the business personality, it's Leo. So this is Leo energy. It's leadership, it's generosity, it's boldness. We are front runners. We are leaders in this space, or this is what the business wants to express as. Now, let's say I had reservations about leadership, or I was not comfortable with being in the limelight. That would cause friction between myself and the business that would need to be addressed so the business can express as what it wants to as its own entity. Leo's ruler is the sun, and this influences how this business seeks to express itself as. So it's very bold, it is bright, it is the thing which illuminates that which needs to be seen. Leo is also in the 9th house for Truth of You. So what this suggests is that this business is in the domain of higher education, spiritual pursuits, and international impact. So Truth of You is a spiritual business, and this is what we do offer to the world, taking the abstract spiritual principles and making them very grounded for people. This is what we do. Now, if we didn't know this at the time of conception, this is highly revelationary for us as founders. But Leo is also in Taurus. So what this is suggesting is we're taking a very grounded approach to this type of education, teaching people this from the ground up, teaching them this value-driven pursuit with very solid foundations. So we're not a spiritual business that sits out there in the mysticism, in the space of oneness. We bring it right back here to the right now. It is practical and it is here with you now. And that's what also makes it very accessible. In terms of what the business is fronting. So if you pull up your own business's birth chart, you want to look at the midheaven. This is like the front of the business. It's its highest aspiration and goals. And we have our 10th house ruled by Taurus. So again, it's suggesting this very practical approach with very strong foundations, both internally, but also how we work with other people. Now, what this also suggests is that Taurus is ruled by Venus, and it is conjunct Chiron. Chiron shows where the wounds are. So this tells us that we need to appeal to people and guiding them to learn how to connect with their very deep wounds. Now, that's why we started this business, by us going through this path, very deeply connecting with how wounding impacts every part of your life, not just your business. But again, if we didn't know that and how we need to present to the world, a marketing agency is just going to come along with their own paradigm and their own model of how to do things and what you should do based on market trends. And they could very much miss the energetic imprint of the business. We also have the values of the business. So we're not going to sit and spin our wheels and think, oh, should we have honesty and integrity? I mean, they're hygiene factors. But this is about very deep transformation. So Venus in the 8th house suggests that this business is about facilitating a very deep transformation and taking the wounds and turning it from disempowerment to empowerment. What we're also looking at, it's very deep, but we do this through hard work. There's detail, there's hard work here, and it's through continuous service to others. Also, Virgo's ruler, which is in Mercury in the 8th house, is Aries, and this very closely aligns to the business mission and vision. So if you are, as a founder, stuck on what's my mission, what's my vision, within 5 minutes, a natal chart of your business can illuminate that just like that. There's no ambiguity. There is no human interpretation involved in this. This is the truth served straight. So the values that we're carrying through, it's very individualistic. We're focusing on the individual accessing their deep wounds to be empowered, to transformed through a structured and logical approach. So everything that we do in the business has this in mind. And we know this from the outset. So we won't be spending years trialing and testing. We know where we need to head. I'll give another example of Truth of You's soul contract. So in the soul contract of the business, we've taken the frequency of the name and we get this chart. Now, I'm going to give a very quick reading, conscious of time. The symbols and how they interact with each other all give further depth to how the business is structured on an unconscious level. So the 11-2 frequency is one that takes dysfunctional patterns, dysfunctional belief systems, and transmutes that into an individual understanding their own truth. That is the success of the business. That is what we are doing for others. But that's also the foundation of our own business, is coming to embracing the spiritual path and a deep sense of self-understanding through separating truth from illusion, false to truth. Ultimately, they are all distortions of the one thing, which is truth. And you can't make this up. The business is called Truth of You, which we conned that name well before we knew any of this. Most importantly is the 5-5. So this is our talent. Our talent in the business is taking things from the ether, from the spirit world, metaphysical principles, and making them very practical and grounded. But the disadvantage of having a 5-5 in this position is we run the risk of being perceived as quiet, etheric. How does one grasp the fog, per se? So if we didn't know this, you can drain tens of thousands of dollars into marketing and just saying, we need a better strategy and we need this and we need just leads and more of this. It's like, no, that isn't going to work for a business where the initial perception and how people come to our business is already impacted, because it is going to be quite abstract and it is not truly not going to be for everyone, because that which is etheric is not always seen. So we need to know this so we can strategize in ways that overcome this. I'm very close to finishing up, conscious of time. So what you can also do is take your natal chart, your soul contract, posit this against the business's birth chart, soul contract, and understand, how do your energies align? How does it cause friction, maybe? Because if there are unresolved patterns that keep on playing out, no amount of conventional strategy is going to allow you to access this. And this is why we're very passionate about bridging the business and the professional world with these languages, because conventional strategies are not enough. Bro marketing, bro business, all of that, it is not enough for the business to express as it needs to. So remember that success beyond the norm requires methods beyond the norm. Most people in business are going to say that's woo-woo, that they're going to disregard that. And disregarding any of this is a protective mechanism. It's suggesting that I'm already full. I already know all of this. I don't want to be shown the depth, because fundamentally, people are scared of this. But there is nothing to be scared, because there's nothing to fear. Because when something is within your conscious awareness and understanding, you can act. And that fundamentally gives you more and more access to being empowered in your business. What these tools are really offering is they're not mystical. They offer structured, systematic, pattern recognition type tools into unseen forces that are playing out in your business right now. If I had had access to these tools, could things have played out differently for me? Yes. Could I have caught things in time? Absolutely yes. Could I have even had a language to understand what was playing out? Because no one was speaking the language that was required to understand why so many of my fronts in my reality, in my business, in my career, in my work, in my life were all on fire. that could not be explained through people who come through conventional routes. And that is where these types of tools very much did come to aid. And they are valuable because they fill in the gaps as well. Again, there is a time and place for conventional strategy. When you just need to set up your calendars online through Acuity, that just requires you to just do it. You don't need to access the esoterics for that. But when you're working with these tools, you are working with perspective independent of limitations of direct experience and belief systems. And when you are working with, no matter if someone says, I've got 30 years in business and I have this experience, there is still a limitation in the perception that is being offered. So time has gone by tremendously quickly in today's presentation, but for those that are interested in exploring, whether you are live right now or whether you're watching the recording, you can discover the unconscious profile of your business today with Truth of You. You can head to our website and use the code SUMMIT10. It is available until the 31st of December, 2024. So thank you so much for your energy in attendance. If you are watching the recording, I appreciate you watching until this point in time, and I would love to connect further. I'm Elinor Moshe on LinkedIn and Elinor Moshe on Instagram.
Hey, Elinor, thank you so much for such an informative presentation. I really enjoyed it. I think, we don't often look outside of ourselves or outside of the human factor of how to run our personal lives and our businesses. So I think what you've shared today has given another perspective on how we can actually better our businesses and our personal life.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Rose, for the opportunity, and I look forward to seeing more of the content on offer today. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. You have a great afternoon. Thank you for joining us at the Talking with the Experts Online Business Summit. I'm Rose Davidson, and it's been an honour to host this incredible event. We hope you found the insights and strategies shared by our esteemed speaker valuable. Remember, your journey to success doesn't end here. Keep applying what you've learned, stay connected with our community, and continue to push boundaries of your business. Until next time, keep thriving and striving for excellence. Goodbye, and see you at our next summit.